Jacob was happily tapping away on his phone, completely unaware of Sophie standing behind him and staring with insecurities brewing in her heart. She couldn't take it anymore. "Who are you texting?" asked Sophie, while trying to get a peek at his phone. Jacob was so immersed in texting that he didn't hear her and moved his body away when he felt her getting closer. Though this action was instinctive, hiding your personal space from other people, it only made Sophie more suspicious. By the time Jacob kept his phone back inside his pocket, Sophie was ready to burst out. He turned around and looked at Sophie. "All right, get your practice sheets and we'll start studying," he said. Sophie stomped her feet as she went ahead to get the practice sheets out of her bag. Suddenly, she stopped dead in her tracks and pointed a finger at Jacob. "You were texting that girl from yesterday, weren't you?" "Why do you care?" Jacob said playfully and dabbed her nose. He was supposed to be teaching her, but sensing a hint of jealousy in her question made him ecstatic. He forgot all about their little spat from before and was in the mood to annoy her a little. Sophie was taken by surprise when he suddenly touched her nose, so she swatted his hand away. "What if it was her? Are you jealous?" Jacob asked. He pretended to be hurt by her little swat and rubbed the back of his hand. "Do you think I can't kick you out?" Sophie asked instead. Her anger was rising by the second. It was growing dark outside, and it was still raining cats and dogs. Even though it was quiet inside the house, the lashing of the rain against the roof was still audible, and it sounded like a huge storm. He sighed. "It was my roommate, Sam. He was asking about my whereabouts, and I told him that I wouldn't be coming back for the night." Jacob knew that testing her limits would only prove dangerous for him, so, not wanting to make it worse, he finally gave up. Besides, he had teased Sophie enough for one night, but it was too late. Sophie needed to see for herself to be sure. She knew that she was being insecure, and she hated it, but this was important for her peace of mind. "Give me your phone." Sophie put her hand out for him to hand over his phone. Jacob gave her his phone at once. He had nothing to hide from her, and he knew that they needed to build trust in their relationship if they wanted to make this work. Sophie tapped on the phone and opened the latest messages. Her serious expression seemed like that of a suspicious girlfriend inspecting her boyfriend's phone. When she saw that the text was from a guy named Sam, she sighed with relief and returned the phone to Jacob. "That's it? Not worried anymore?" Jacob put his cell phone back in his pocket and asked her. He was actually expecting her to check and snoop on him a bit now that she had access to his phone. It surprised him a little that she had just checked the last message. Sophie defended herself. "I wasn't worried. I was just asking." Are all girls this complicated, or have I got myself a handful? Jacob wondered. Finally, deciding not to dwell on it any longer, he flipped open a book. "Let's start," he said, and started explaining the English grammar to Sophie. She bit her lip, deciding to give up on her anger, and opened her notebook. Since there was no time restriction today, Jacob explained everything very carefully and attentively. He tried to slow down his pace while explaining the subject at hand and started with the most straightforward concepts and worked his way up to the most difficult ones. After tutoring her a few times, he knew what level Sophie was at and how he should teach her. Sophie seemed to be putting in more effort than before. She did not want to embarrass her parents in front of everyone, and also didn't want to spend her summer taking her high school classes again. She propped up her chin with her left hand as she memorized and processed the concepts at the same time. She was concentrating on the sheet in front of her. "She's looking so pretty today," Jacob thought to himself as he sneaked a peek of her face. Sophie started to blank out gradually. Her attention span had always been limited when it came to boring things like studying. Her gaze moved to Jacob's face. Sitting so close to him on her bed, she could see the finer details of his face. She looked into his bright blue eyes and kept listening to the words coming out of his mouth. However, she felt slightly dazed. His soft hair was slightly moist from his bath earlier, and they fell messily on his forehead. Compared to his dry, combed hair, the wet, messy hair made him look attractive. She felt a sudden urge to run her fingers through his hair, and just as she felt her hand go out of her control to do just that, she heard Jacob saying, "Hey, why didn't you write anything down?" Jacob waved his hand in front of Sophie's unfocused eyes as he noticed her staring at him blankly. Sophie recovered from her dreamland, blushed slightly, and said, Sorry, I zoned out." Jacob sighed helplessly. "We're learning the use of subject pronouns. Use it as the subject of a sentence. For example, it is my responsibility to look after you." "Oh, okay." Sophie wrote the sentence down, but didn't really understand, so she asked again, "What are subject pronouns?" "Have you been listening to me at all?" Jacob asked her with exasperation. He then took a deep breath and went on to explain the concept all over again. He was a bit annoyed. He had made detailed notes and explained it so clearly to her, but Sophie didn't even care and blanked out. Seeing Jacob getting slightly impatient, Sophie got irritated as well. "I was at school all day, even took the extra classes, and now I have to listen to you at night. I'm already tired to death. I'm sorry if I'm not being an ideal student." Both of them were clearly on the edge, tired from the long day they had had. All the relaxation from the family dinner was long gone. Jacob got angry at her for giving excuses all the time, especially when it came to her education. "Why are you giving me that attitude? I'm only trying to help you." Before he could complete his sentence, there was a knock at the door. The door opened seconds later, and Helen walked in with a plate of snacks in her hands. She asked, "What's with all the shouting? Are you guys fighting?" Jacob calmed his expression a bit when he saw Helen. Sophie's expression also turned tame. Jacob knew he couldn't complain about Sophie to her parents, and Sophie knew that her mother would probably take Jacob's side even if she did complain. Nothing. We were discussing a topic in her textbook, and Soph and I had different opinions." Jacob came up with an excuse. "Oh, let me see." Helen didn't seem to buy his act. She walked over, picked up Sophie's notes, and read out loud, "It is my responsibility to look after you. It is the subject pronoun here. What's wrong with this sentence? How can there be a difference of opinion here?" Jacob and Sophie were both embarrassed and didn't know how to answer. Jacob felt weird as well. He thought, why did I get so angry at Sophie? As her tutor, I'm supposed to be patient with her. She's right about being tired, too. "Whatever it was, forget it now." Helen put Sophie's notes down and moved the plate of snacks towards them. "You both will probably be up late, so I got you some snacks," she said. "Thank you, Helen," Jacob said, thanking her for being so thoughtful. He then grabbed a slice of cake and started eating it. "Thanks, Mom." Sophie also grabbed a piece from the plate. "All right, I'm not going to disturb you anymore. Study hard." Helen left the plate there and walked out with a smile. Jacob and Sophie looked at each other and felt a bit awkward. Their anger had simmered down, and both of them knew that they were being unreasonable. Jacob coughed twice and broke the silence. He decided to cut the tutoring short and said, "We'll stop here for today. It seems like you're tired as well. Let's call it a day. You don't have questions about other subjects, right?" Sophie didn't know what came over her mind, but she pulled out several thick books from her drawer and said, "I actually have one problem or the other with all the subjects."
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.